Presentation of the turbo boat. This is my 1970, mid-70s Finncraft 22 HT Finnish Hanko-made boat. Very sturdy built. Small engine Volvo Penta 4-cylinder Aquamatic 171, 167 horses from the factory. Now turboed with mega squirt fuel injection, which isn't working like fully, but it's working. And Volvo Penta D4 intercooler. It has 4 big injectors, fuel injectors, and Volkswagen 1.8 turbo coil on plug coils. Engine is otherwise standard. H-beam rods, standard pistons, Volvo Penta big TAMD 7 series air cleaner, normal fuel filter from a Volvo 850 car. Here you can see the D4 intercooler there. There's a really nice catch can for oil, standard heat exchanger, and on the side of the engine there's a Octavia or Golf 5 not intercooler but normal radiator, which has two 300mm fans for extra cooling, manually controlled, not normally used. Engine uses E85 as fuel and can also operate on gasoline, but then I need to reprogram it. I'm currently thinking about replacing the Mega Squirt fuel injection. Standard Mega Squirt 1 box, nothing fancy, just old school, with some modern stuff. Maybe a Max ECU or VMS, because I'm not so satisfied with the Mega Squirt. Here you can see the turbocharger, fairly big. I think it's like a 60mm wing at the intake and a 64 or something like that at the exhaust. I tried to find a new one because I wrecked the old one. Had the seat that you saw that I removed earlier. It was too tight fit for the turbo, so it was pushing down on the intercooler pipe and making the compressor housing get loose over time. So it destroyed, or well, it got very laggy, like the turbo was kicking in first after like 3000 RPM. Now it kicks in at roughly 2600-2700 RPM. Normal instrumentation, you can see that there's quite many instruments. From the left there's gauge for turbo pressure, the 2 bar. I can't get it much over 1.5, 1.6. Because the exhaust pipe is standard Volvo 290 Sterndrive, so it's limiting at around 330-350 horsepower maybe, so that equates to 1 bar of boost. Then you can hear a flutter all the time if you try to go past that one. Then we have an oil gauge next to the right. Up to the on the up we have oil temperature gauge, engine temp gauge under that, RPM counter, video, all video view line. RPM counter has also got a clock and digital voltage gauge, trip and total driving time. Then we have a GPS speedo from same line of video. Then we have a pyrometer, so exhaust temp meter. That doesn't work currently, so I have it just disconnected. I just need to connect some cables, but I haven't had the time how to fix the boat. It was a bit... I left it in the winter because I had some problems. Then we have under that a trim gauge, which doesn't work. I'm thinking about replacing it with something fun. Maybe a lambda sensor, normal like gauge or something like that. Then we have Sterndrive trim gauge, digital one from Volvo Sterndrives, maybe 1990 to 2003-04, analog 290 or SPDP gauge from 1990 to 2000. The earlier one was a four square gauge or but I didn't like that and it wouldn't have fit here, and I didn't get it with the Sterndrive, so I bought a new. And a fuel gauge, just under 400 liter tank on this quite big tank, but it drinks a lot of E85, maybe 25-35 liters an hour. Here you can see part of the tank under the floor. It's 137 by 62 cent by 35, I think, at the edges and 45 at the bottom. So just a tad under 400 liters. There you can see the fuel gauge. And then we can open this part of the floor maybe. Here we can see the fuel hoses and fittings. They are hydraulic fittings for the pressure side. You can see the electric cables. Then I have a thick electric cable, 4 square millimeter cable, just to get enough power to the pump. The pump is Valbro, I think, maybe 480 or something like that liters per hour. 8 millimeter fuel hoses. I don't think about putting bigger because they are enough in my comparison to like 550 horsepower, and I don't want to get more than that. This power level is enough for this boat. It's just on the brink of handling it and not handling it. There you can see the turbo pressure sensor. Yeah, not much more to see here. Down there's an oil filter, and maybe you can see the oil pressure sensors. Coils are under the valve cover or the center cover here. We have the lambda sensor and EGT sensor here, and not so much more to see. The engine is spilling a bit of oil. I'm going to do a repair on it, try to get the oil. You can see that there's a lot of oil in the bilge. That's not all oil, it's some water and oil on the top, so not major oil leak, but there's an oil leak squirting around here and there, and I think it's the valve cover gasket. So I'm going to replace that and the timing belt and the seals here in the near future. Yeah, that's all for today, I think. Thank you.